Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video I got a couple of very interesting bodybuilding topics for you guys. So the first thing is about Wesley Vissers, who basically made a reel. He posted a reel in which he's kinda promising that he is going to bring much improved, much better legs to the Arnold Classic stage. So he made this reel right here in which he's explaining how his upper body will be as good as usual, but you can cut this out, you can clip this and play it after the Arnold Classic. Legs will be much better, they will be improved. He had some time training with his new coach, Stefan Kinzel. He has been pushing himself in the gym harder than before, and this is going to be the first time we'll see his legs actually look good on stage. When I saw this, I was like, prior to the Arnold Classic, he was also promising that he was gonna win the show. But I didn't take him seriously. I was like, he was just simply trying to be confident. It would be boring if he said, I'm gonna be placing 5th or something like that. So nobody really saw Wesley Vissers coming at the Arnold Classic. Nobody thought he was gonna be that good and actually beat all those guys and win the Arnold Classic. That was a huge surprise. So based on that, I actually believed him. I was like, well, if he says his legs are better, then I guess they are. He also said that he doesn't want to show too much of his physique right now. He wants to wait and actually present them finally on stage, which is fine, which is great. And does he need better legs? For sure he does. He absolutely does. From the front, they're okay, but they're not good. Like, his upper body is just that big that his legs need to be bigger to match his upper body. He's so wide to the shoulders and so massive in the upper body. His legs, even from the front, need to catch up, but more so from behind and from the sides. Because what he really lacks the most is the glute, adductor area, hamstrings as well, but more so adductors and glutes. That area is really underdeveloped for Wesley. Like, his glutes definitely need to get bigger, adductors as well, hamstrings too. But I think it's expected for him to be weak in this area because he doesn't do like heavy back squats. I don't see him doing any deadlifts. Those are the exercises that will develop your lower body from behind, like the glutes, the hamstrings, the adductors, stuff like that. Deep squats, split squats, RDLs, deadlifts, those kind of exercises. And he doesn't really do a lot of hardcore stuff. He usually does like a lot of machines, and I don't see any crazy intensity from Wesley. Now that he focused on this area of his body, he started doing hip thrusts, glute bridges, whatever you want to call these, and he's even doing these on a machine, not with a bar. And it's different, guys. It's definitely different. If you tried both, you know the bar is definitely a lot harder. So do I think he will be able to improve his glutes and hamstrings and adductors this way? Well, I think he can if he wasn't paying enough attention to that area and now he starts training it directly, have a separate day for it maybe, train with a little bit more intensity. Yeah, things can change for sure. It would change much faster if he did like deep squats, deadlifts and split squats, stuff like that, with a lot of weight, kind of like what Chris Bumstead is doing. But apparently no, he found a path of less resistance, and I still think it's gonna work. But here is what his current coach, Stefan Kinzel, had to say about this, because Wesley said his legs are improved. When Stefan Kinzel was a guest on Fuad's podcast, Fuad asked him this question. He asked him, are Wesley's legs actually that much improved? And here is what Stefan actually said.
Stefan, let me ask you this, because Wesley put up a video and said his legs have grown. Have his legs grown? Because I don't believe it.
His glutes and hamstrings are a little bit more dense. Okay. It's just a time thing. But it's also unfair to talk about his legs, because take a look from the front.
Hey, I'm only talking about his legs because he's talking about his legs.
No.
He said it.
From the front, great. From the side, no, and from the back, we have that density issues in glutes and hamstring area.
Is it adductors?
Adductors, hams, right? And glutes.
He can't spread very wide
because the adductor is not that impressive, but mostly the glute tissue is missing.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you think his quads are great?
His quads are good.
Not great.
Good enough for all the others.
Do you think his quads are good enough to win?
Yes. When it comes just to the quads, yes.
I don't know if I agree.
I don't know if I agree either. And based on what Stefan said here, it sounds like Wesley improved his glutes and hamstrings, adductors, a little tiny bit. That's what Stefan says here. And Wesley kind of made it sound like he made some tremendous progress in the legs. And I think Stefan is the kind of guy that will just tell you exactly the way things are. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's not going to hide anything away. When Stefan is asked a question, he replies directly. He doesn't hold back. So what Stefan said here is basically that Wesley did improve a little bit. Like his glutes and hamstrings are a little bit denser, but that's about it. And he believes his quads were already good. I don't think they were good. They were fine. He was able to get away with it at the Arnold Classic, for example, because everything else on him was spot on, and Ramon was also off and his legs were down in size, so he got away with his quads the way they are. But at the Arnold Classic, even they weren't matching his upper body; they were still down in size. So he definitely needs to bring up his whole legs. Quads, but definitely more so hamstrings, glutes, and the adductors. I'm not saying he needs to be on Chris Bumstead's level, that's definitely not gonna happen, but he needs to get better in this area, and that's basically what he's focused on, and based on what Stefan says, he did improve slightly, but probably not as much as Wesley makes it sound like he did. But I don't know why would Wesley be saying stuff like that. Maybe he believes he'll make more progress until the Arnold Classic, before the Arnold Classic. So we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see how much did he improve actually. But if he's slightly improved, and if he's 100% on with conditioning and fullness the way he was at the Arnold Classic, with this minor improvement, that can still mean a lot. And potentially that can be enough to beat Mike Sommerfeld and win the Arnold Classic again. And maybe Stefan is playing a game of like lowering our expectations a little bit, because Wesley did make it seem like he's gonna bring like Chris Bumstead legs. But, that's not gonna happen. We'll see how much he'll be improved. Hopefully there will be a noticeable improvement. If that happens, yeah, I can see him winning the Arnold Classic again. What do you guys think? Tell me down below. Alright, the next thing we got is another physique update from another Stefan Kinzel's client. That's right. Regan Grimes is also coached by Stefan Kinzel. At this point, Stefan should probably get like an official title in the IFBB Pro League, the coach of the league, something like that, because he's basically coaching almost all the bodybuilders up there. And this is what Regan Grimes looks like right now at 17 weeks out of the New York Pro at 303 pounds. And he says, because I've been posting front shots lately. Now, in this back double, man, he looks seriously good. Like, in my opinion, this is probably second best back double bicep in the IFBB Pro League right now. Derek Lunsford, Regan. I would say Blessing Avodibu also has a crazy back double bicep. I mean, I don't know if Regan could actually hang against like the top 3, top 4 guys. I mean, if he stood next to like Samson, who, his back double is probably not his best pose, but, he's just a bigger man, more dense, more muscular, bigger quads, bigger arms and shoulders and everything. So I don't know if he could actually look better than somebody like Samson or Hadi at his best from the Arnold Classic, for example. But the way Regan is shaped and the way he filled out his frame, and he truly did, like, the lats are freaking amazing. Like, they're there, they're filled out, the upper back is also there, the shoulders, the arms as well from behind are looking great. He has insane hamstrings too, and like overall, he's a big guy, he's a taller guy, 300 pounds right here with pretty solid conditioning. I mean, of course, nowhere near contest conditioning. I mean, pay attention to like the shoulders, there are no details. The glutes, of course, are not dialed in yet, but they'll get there. Like, overall, he has a film of water and fat, so he definitely has another, like, maybe 30 pounds to lose. He actually said in Fuad's podcast that he believes he will lose only 20 pounds, which means he will be, like, 280 on stage. Will that happen? I mean, if he was 270 last year, and yeah, he wasn't in great condition, but he was good enough. He was lean enough, if you ask me. 2 years ago, 2023, Spain Pro in Italy. Like, if he was 270 then yeah, like, why wouldn't he be 280 now? Which would be really freaking good, because we don't know what he's doing right now currently to hold this condition and this size. Maybe he's doing very little. I'm talking about gear, of course, and as the show approaches, he will ramp things up and potentially, get even better, save all the muscle, not lose muscle while dieting down, and just lose 20 pounds of fat and water and maybe gain a little bit more during the process. 17 weeks, guys, that's a long time. if you're training like a maniac, if you're eating a lot of food, even if you are in a caloric deficit, like with harder compounds, you can still put on muscle. So yeah, it wouldn't be too crazy to see Regan Grimes at 280 on stage. And it's not out of the question he can actually win the New York Pro. I mean, he has a lot of heavy hitters there. Guys like Nick Walker, obviously the heavy favorite. Maybe Martin Fitzwater jumps in as well because he's doing Pittsburgh Pro before that. There are guys like, again, Blessing Avodibu, Michal Krizo. I'm sure there are many others that I forgot about, but it's going to be a stacked lineup. But, Regan, if he truly brings it now with Stefan, if he actually brings really good conditioning, really good peak, and if he made some progress in these last, it's going to be 2 years between his last show until the New York Pro. If he actually managed to make some progress, and I'm sure he did, come on, like he was still training and eating and doing everything. Like maybe he wasn't the most super focused guy, but still, 2 years of training, of eating like a bodybuilder, living like a bodybuilder, he must have made some progress. And in this photo right here, like it seems like he's starting to get a little bit harder. And here, actually, he looks phenomenal, honestly. Like this back double right now looks crazy, looks really thick. And you gotta consider that he's actually a taller guy. Like Derek, if he stood next to him right here, he would look much, much smaller, much shorter. So he has crazy width, crazy size. This back double, one of the best in the business. We'll see what he's gonna look like from the front once he gets shredded. But yeah, this one is really impressive. It seems like Regan might bring something special actually this year. Next up, we got Carlos Thomas Jr. And this physique update was posted by his coach. Surprise, surprise, his coach is not Stefan Kinsel. No, it's actually Patrick Tuor. And what these guys are doing together seems to be working really well. Now, if you guys remember, I think it was 2 years ago, Patrick was prepping Carlos. I think it was actually when he turned pro. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Patrick was prepping this guy for an entirety of the prep for I don't know how many months. And then, like a week out, literally, it was 1 week out or 2 weeks out. I think it was actually 1 week out. He decided to change a coach. He hired somebody else. He stopped working with Patrick. And, he did what he did. But basically, Patrick prepped him the whole prep. Imagine that, guys. I don't know if you compete. I mean, I compete. I know how crazy it can get in the last week. Like, I lost my mind many times in the final week. Not to this point to change a coach 1 week out, but you never know what was going through his head at that moment. He probably had somewhat of a reason. Still, it was a wrong decision for sure. But not everybody learns how to be emotionally stable in those last stages. It should come with experience. Like, the more you compete, the more you learn that you need to just, ignore your feelings, your emotions, and just be a robot in that last week and, try not to be distracted. But, sometimes, in some cases, it's impossible to do that, to learn how to do that. So some guys lose it at that time. And Carlos Thomas Jr. is definitely one of those guys. I hope he watches this video and actually tells himself, I mean, I'm sure he already had this conversation with Patrick, but I hope he will be able to really listen through the entire prep and, just stay focused and not let his mind go all over the place in the last week. Because at this point, things are really shaping up well for him. Like, he looks really freaking impressive at 5 weeks out of the Arnold Classic. Like, that front double bicep, man, that's his best pose for sure, and it's a really freaking impressive front double bicep. Like, it looks better than Derek's front double bicep right now. I'm not saying he can beat Derek, of course. No, he cannot, because of the back, right? But from the front, he can definitely challenge him, He can give us a good show, for sure. Do I think he will be in that top 3, which in my opinion is his best case scenario? No, I would probably put him in I don't know, man, like 6th, 7th maybe. We'll see. I'll make a prediction video when the time comes. But yeah, at this point, he is looking better than before for sure. Conditioning is coming along. The lines in the quads mainly are starting to get a little bit deeper. Like, it's still not the highest quality of the muscle. The separation is not exactly super deep, but for his size, for the size of his freaking legs, it's good enough, it's okay. And there are 5 more weeks to go, so I'm sure he will get more conditioned. It's not gonna be the most carved out quads on the stage, but they're gonna be decent if he gets lean enough. And Carlos, being one of those bodybuilders that never really brought good conditioning, this is gonna be a mind game for him right now. He needs to really be able to suffer, to endure this prep. And I mean, I don't know if I'm right about this, it's just my impression. I feel like Patrick here needs to be more of a psychologist than a coach, really, because I think you can't really go that wrong with this guy. He just needs to get more conditioned and actually be willing to do that, to go through the pain, to endure the suffering, and it's gonna be hard, I'm sure, but, you know, if he gets super shredded, and he's on the right path, he's almost there. You know, I give him a couple more weeks of really suffering and then just maintaining the conditioning and working on fullness in the last couple of weeks. But the rest of this prep is not going to be easy for him, I don't think. No matter how much he's eating, like, he's got to be suffering really bad right now. I just hope he stays focused and actually delivers really good conditioning. If that happens, then man, like, a lot of things are possible because this is looking really freaky. I'm curious to see his back finally. Why they're not posting his back? I mean, I believe it's. I know it's not great, but I believe it's better. I guess we'll find out soon enough, anyways. In like a month, a little bit more than a month from now, at the Arnold Classic stage. You guys tell me down below, what do you think about Carlos's current shape, or about Regan, or about Wesley? Whatever is on your mind, guys, tell me down below. If you guys enjoy my content, just please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, comment if you have something to comment, and also go to the Hostile Supplements website and buy whatever you guys need. Supplements or lifting gear or clothing, whatever. Just make sure you use the code EVEN10 for a 10% discount, and that's how you can support me and this channel, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. All the best, guys, and bye-bye.